Hello, hello. This is Wendy with loveandstampin.com. I'm so excited that you're here with me today. Today I have an inked embossing folder trick. I don't know why would I have to say that really slow. These are the supplies that I use to create today's card. You can pause the video and look at them, but there is also links below with all of the products so that if you want to purchase any of them, you can. And they are listed over on my blog. This embossing folder is gorgeous, and it comes free with a stamp set, and it is a celebration item. Oh, and there's a reflection of my face. How fun is that? Okay, so we're going to use the Stamparatus tool, and I've got the mountain images here ready to be stamped, and our card base is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm inking up my mountains on the reverse side. So the cool thing about this stamp set is that you can use either side of the stamp. So you can use the back of the stamp or the front of the stamp. If you use the back of the stamp, you get this image, which is just kind of like a silhouette. And if you use the other side, you get detailed mountainous image. I didn't want the detail. I just wanted a very basic background. And now you can see why I used the Stamparatus, because I had an area there that wasn't filled in. And as this ink sits, it will spread more evenly and kind of sit into the paper. So I'm not too worried about it being a little uneven. I've got my Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I'm going to ink it up, stamp it down. We're going to color it with Poppy Parade, light and dark, and real red. And so I really like using a 3-color combo with my markers, but I can't always do that. And then we're also doing this fun technique. So I wanted to just show this to you. You take an embossing folder. This is the trick. And you pick the side that is going to impress into the cardstock, and you take your ink, lightly tap it across the embossing folder, close it down, run it through the embosser, and voila, this is what you end up with. So then this is the difference. Isn't that amazing? It's really beautiful. And you can see it adds so much texture and kind of detail to your embossed images. And you could do this with anything, but I think it's particularly fun with something that looks like rock or slate like this does, or brickwork, stuff like that. So this smoky slate piece is cut at 2 inches by 5.5, and I'm using my snail adhesive to add it to the bottom of this cardstock. And then we've just kind of got the mountains sticking up behind. This is not a true scene card because you wouldn't have random bricky, rocky looking stuff and then mountain. All it's doing is creating a feeling. So some cards are more authentic to what they really are trying to portray, and then some cards are just, meant to kind of create a feel. And so I just wanted to create kind of a rugged feel to this card and not necessarily have it be what would you call it? Like a real scene, for example. Okay, so we're coloring. I'm starting with my dark real red, and I'm putting it anywhere that I want it to be the darkest. So the edges of the truck, the bottom of the truck, kind of up one side on the windows and stuff, and then we're going to go in with the dark Poppy Parade and the light Poppy Parade to finish out all of our blending. You can see that I put a small grid sheet underneath because whenever you're coloring with alcohol-based markers, it is good to have a piece of cardstock or paper underneath so that the ink has a way to move into something else, and then that helps prevent bleeding. The other thing that helps prevent bleeding is having good quality cardstock to color on, like this. I use Whisper White thick cardstock for my coloring, and it works well. I don't prefer the Whisper White regular cardstock. I feel like it doesn't quite have enough thickness to it, so I go ahead and use the thick. Okay, let's chat. I haven't really got to catch up with you guys totally here on YouTube since Super Bowl Sunday because I had to pre-record my Monday video. So this is my first video rehashing the Super Bowl, and I know it's like a week out, but hey, it is what it is, and this is when the video was out, so we're doing it. We're doing it, baby. Disappointed, yes. But you know, it just is what it is. I was super happy they made it to the Super Bowl. It was really hard to watch them lose, but I honestly think it would have almost been harder if they won. And you guys will have to comment and let me know what you think about this, but I just felt like my grandpa was there with me in spirit, and I feel like if they would have won, I would have been so much more disappointed that he missed it. Where by them losing, it was like, okay, like I'm sad they lost, but I'm not missing out on celebrating this huge victory with him. So I don't know, does that sound weird or selfish? And on another note, can we just talk about how grief is simply one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced in my life. Now, being almost 40 years old, and I keep saying that, my husband's like, you're not even 39 yet, but I'm turning 39 in March. So, you know, getting close to that 40 mark, my grandpa is the first person I've lost that was super close to me. Like, my grandma was close. I loved her dearly. But my grandpa was really my person. And you know what I'm talking about if you've had a family member or anybody in your life that is like someone you've really connected with. And that is what he was for me. So because of that, I feel like this very significant loss. So back to the grief thing, it's just a bizarre thing because you just don't ever know when it's going to hit you to have like this deep emotion regarding the loss of this person. And I have definitely experienced that. It's been very odd. And I saw this really cool explanation of grief that really was perfect. And actually one of my team members sent it to me. I don't know. I know I've talked about my team all the time, but we seriously are so close. Like my team is like my second family. And Carolyn, my team member Carolyn, tagged me in it on Facebook, and it said, and it had an illustration of a box with a ball in it. And at the beginning of the grief, the ball was really huge inside the box, and the ball touched all the walls of the box. And so the walls of the box were pain, or like the grief, making you feel the grief. So when it first starts, it's like that ball is big, or I guess the ball is the grief, and it's touching the sides of the box, and that's when you get like the pain. And so when it first happened, that's totally how it was. It was like I was just filled up, and everything made me cry, and everything made me hurt. And then it shows as grief progresses how the ball gets smaller. But when the ball hits the side of one of the walls, it hurts exactly the same amount. So the pain and the hurt when the grief strikes isn't less, but it just strikes less often. And I was like, oh my Lord, that is the perfect example. And that is exactly how I feel. So on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, there was a part of me that felt like my grief was the big ball touching all the walls again, if that makes sense. And so those are the things where it's just, you just don't know how it's going to affect you. But the fact, like I'm talking about it now and I'm not crying, that's really good. So you just don't know. You don't know how it's going to hit you. And I know I'm not the only person to have ever lost anybody close to me. And I know there's people that say, you know, well, it's your grandpa, and like, you know, I can't imagine losing a child or a spouse. I'm certain that would be even more painful. But I know it would be. But, you know, he was really special to me. And so it's been very painful for me. And I mean, we spoke daily. So it's been a big void in my life, almost daily. To say daily is kind of an exaggeration because there were times we missed, but we spoke very often. So And we lived close, so I was always taking stuff to him and doing things for him. So that's my Super Bowl wrap-up. Disappointed. I think Garoppolo did a great job trying. I feel like he did good. He really did. They were just better. Chiefs were better. And by the way, oh, maybe I won't go that way because I don't want to start anything political. But there was some funny stuff that happened after the Super Bowl. And I'm a pretty non-political person, so for me, I can just take stuff and laugh at it and be done with it, but I know other people can't do that. So, and I didn't used to be. Have we ever talked about this? We might have to talk about this in a future video. So when I have always been really into politics and very into all the dynamics of the things that go on in the U.S., blah, 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 that kind of stuff, government related. And the last election, I just lost all interest. And it wasn't any particular person, so nobody needs to get, like, crazy. But it was just, like, I lost all interest. And I was kind of disgusted with the behavior of so many people. Not just the people running. Like, I was disgusted with friends of mine, the way they were behaving and talking about people. And I'm a kind person and I believe in kindness, and I believe you can totally 100% disagree with somebody politically or about something and still be really good friends. I have friends from all walks of life, from different ethnic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, different sexual orientations, from mine, and I just believe in being kind and loving people. And so that doesn't make me a conservative or a liberal or anything else. That just makes me a human. I just want people to be nice to each other. And so I kind of just shrugged my arms to it and I said, I'm done. And the funny thing is that, and here's the card, and now we're running out of time. So we'll have to continue this discussion because it's a worthwhile discussion to have. But, the funny thing is people are still very used to me, not so much now, but for the good first 2 years after this happened with me, you know, people would still try to talk politics with me. And I literally be like, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. Let me tell you how bad it is. When the whole thing happened with that Kavanaugh dude, who's now Justice or whatever he is, I literally didn't know what people were talking about. I had to Google it. That's how checked out I am. It's pretty bad. So, again, it's not about any one person. It doesn't even have anything to do with the particular president we have. It's just, my life is so much fuller not fighting with people about who they're going to vote for in office, right? Or what's going on politically. I've literally gained so much peace from it and lost nothing. So anyway, we can have more discussions about that, but I don't want to get political because that's not what my channel is. And ultimately, I'm all about just sharing love and kindness and happiness. If you want to see other videos from me, click either one you see on the screen, click the circle with my face in it to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Hope you have a great day.